Hey fam, this is just a check-in. It's Monday, March 30th, so this is our first official day back after break since we extended it to today. Sent a note out about how to kind of get online and to do some discussion board posts and to replicate some of the conversations that we've been having in class. I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel. I'm going to try and keep the YouTube channel fairly dynamic so that I'm posting some updates for you guys and talking to you a little bit. You can see me. I can, at least be visible as a presence this way. And then also I'm going to, in addition to talking about the class, I'll also talk a little bit about some of the horror movies I've been seeing and other stuff that's a part of the run of this course. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about the Nightingale. I saw this movie on Friday on Netflix disc. This is from the director that famously directed The Babadook. So that really great horror movie that came out, I think about 5 years ago. And if you haven't seen that movie, it's genre defining, I think, for this particular moment in horror movies. This movie, The Nightingale, is a very different kind of movie, different kind of horror movie, whereas The Babadook was taking elements of the supernatural and also plumbing the depths of things like grief and mother-child relationships in very complicating and meaningful ways. This doesn't really have any elements of the supernatural. It certainly doesn't have any elements of that kind of contemporary. In fact, it's a period piece. It's set in Australia. And I realized when I was watching it with my friend Miranda, we knew so little about Australian history. So I think it's set sometime in the 19th century, around that time when the project of colonization was going on with Australia. And so it's about this woman who's an Irish convict who is part of this colony, this British colony that's there, and she is being sort of, I won't get into a lot, but terrible things happen to her that are inflicted by a British officer, and honestly, a British officer and sort of his cohort of British officers. And then the movie kind of becomes a rape revenge film. I mean, the huge thrust of it is about what do you do when you've been personally wrong, when you've had this trauma inflicted on you and inflicted on the people you love. How do you respond? So there's a lot of, it's sort of like a 19th century I Spit on Your Grave, but restrained and also really beautiful and really meditative in a way that I Spit on Your Grave is not. It reminds me a lot of that more recent film I saw, The Devil, which asks the same questions. You've had trauma inflicted on you. These things have happened. How do you respond? And how you respond says a lot about who you are and not so much about what's happened to you. And in that way, you can sort of tie it to The Babadook, because The Babadook had these really profound ideas about how do you process grief, what is a way that you can experience grief that's healthy, and then how do you bounce back from that. And there's a lot of that stuff going on too in The Nightingale. So I can see connections there between those two movies, and it's really harrowing. It's very difficult to watch. It's long. It's about 2.5 hours. The first 30 minutes of it are just unrelenting and remorseless, and then there's a lot of the movie that sort of turns into a journey movie. And then there are things that happen even later that are just horrific as well. So it's the horror of that. It's not the horror of the supernatural or creatures, but I think it connects in those ways to some of the books we've read, like Sing Unburied Sing, certainly A Visitation of Spirits, where it's asking these questions about how do you respond to this trauma? What are the ways that you respond to that? So definitely recommend it. It's harrowing. It's a tricky thing to watch, but I think that it's really good. And this director is one to watch. So that's my review. I hope you all are doing okay. Love getting your emails. I have my email up over here all the time on my phone. So if you ever need anything, you want to talk, or you want to talk about your final project, can't wait to see what you say on the discussion board, and probably post one of these in another couple of days about some of the questions that are on the discussion board. But talk to you later. Bye.